Life Orb on Garchomp, but Life Orb on Basculation has also been quite common on this team. And sometimes you see Choppleberry Kingambit, and you sometimes see Low Kick on it as well. But for the rest, this team is quite standard. I do think when I was looking at the matchups and preparing with Brent, I was a bit scared of the Chandler. It's a little scary to deal with because the Zard doesn't hit it well, Floette doesn't hit it well, so you have to deal with it with Kingambit. Kingambit is quite weak to the Torkoal and to the Scrafty, and well, we see a Scrafty Mawile lead actually. We see Zard Kingambit.
Double Intimidate into this Kingambit.
It's a Hypercutter on the Mawile, so
oh, okay.
Only a single Intimidate. Yeah, you can take the team sheet. This is not a lead we prepared for, but this is actually, I think, quite positive for Brent. I would say that this is probably one of the better outcomes. There are some caveats. I mean, the Life Orb Scrafty hits really hard, so you have to be a little careful about it. But Brent also has to really be careful with what pieces he starts to lose, because besides that the Kingambit isn't... if he decides to leave the Kingambit open and it just gets deleted, that can be pretty tough. Okay, we immediately see a Mega from the Charizard Y, which is basically like in this format you always Mega turn on. But yes, I think this is already shaping up to be an interesting first turn.
Yeah, and the Mega coming out on the Mawile. I'm interested to see what will happen. Most likely the fake out into the Charizard here.
Yes, that's what I would also think. We see a Protect from the Kingambit actually. But no Protect from the Zard, which is a little scary, okay. That does mean that this Mawile can get a free Source Dance if it wants to.
And there it is. Will.
Now it gets a little scary, because now these Sucker Punches start hitting really hard. So it's gonna be kind of a mind game here. You can try to attack with the Zard. You can also try to protect with it to block a Sucker Punch, but then you leave your Kingambit undefended against a Play Rough plus Close Combat double up, which will KO it. Kingambit is quite an important piece for graphs for the Chandlers in the back, so I would be careful with that if I were Brent.
Yeah, definitely a very difficult positioning for Brent here. And he just goes on the defensive with the Zard.
Okay, let's see if the Sucker Punch happened. The Sucker Punch did happen, good play. I think the Kingambit should outspeed the... Yes.
Yes, Iron Head into the Scrap, into the Mawile.
Yep, exactly. This Close Combat will hurt a lot. Oh, but there's no... Oh, I forgot about no Choppleberry. That's actually true.
Yeah, no Choppleberry. And with the Life Orb as well.
Yes, the Life Orb, but...
Just icing on the cake there.
Yes, exactly. And now it gets pretty tricky. I think Brent should consider bringing out Garchomp here. In that case, he can threaten a double KO with Earthquake and Heatwave. But now it gets a little weird. Yep, there it is. Garchomp comes out. And now it will be quite interesting to see what happens here. What do you think will happen?
Yeah, I mean, Sucker Punch into the Zard. I don't know how much you're able to reveal on how bulky it is, but at +2, I imagine that the Sucker Punch should get close, if not does KO.
I'm pretty sure it will KO, so I'm a little scared for my buddy here. But I think as well, like, you could go for the double protect here, which could be good. Okay, we see a swap to probably up to Torkoal actually.
Earthquake would be huge here.
Yeah, this would be a huge Earthquake. Oh, you see the protect to block the Sucker. That's a smart play. See if he suckers. No, he suckers a Mawile. That's a huge play, but it lives. Very bulky, Zard. And now we see that this Earthquake will actually kill the Mawile, and that's a huge Threadgon.
That is a huge turn for Brent here.
Yes, this is a massive swing in momentum, because now, if there's no Chandler in the back, this game is flipped on its head really bad.
Yeah. If Farigiraf is the last Pokemon here, it's just Earthquake plus Weather Ball.
Yes, exactly.
And no Trick Room available.
Yep. This looks pretty difficult. I see Scrafty come in. That probably means there's no Trick Room setter in the back.
Trying to get the Intimidate. Oh, the Fake Out push.
Yes, the Intimidate will mean that the Earthquake won't KO the Torkoal, so that's a good heads up play by Matthew. But we will see that the... I think probably what you want to do is you want to maybe switch out the Garchomp here if you're Brent and next, I would think. At this point, they would have to make some kind of read, I think, if Matthew wants to win, because I'm pretty sure Basculation will be in the back. We do see the Protect on Garchomp, which probably means that there's a Protect on Zard.
Yeah, they'll protect just to guarantee no fake outs this turn. And has a lot of pressure next turn with Earthquake Heatwave.
Yes, exactly.
Although it has to be the Heatwave instead of the Weather Ball because of the Intimidate. The Torkoal will survive an Earthquake here, according to notes.
Yes, I think it should be Heatwave here, but Brent might also be looking at the Sun turns, which are running out.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm having some coughing troubles. But we do see the double spread move here.
Yeah. Important to note that Heatwave is not 100% accurate.
Oh, you
it's
see
just
the
going
Weather
for the
Ball?
Weather Ball.
But that's actually fine. You would have to hard punish this with a Weather Ball into the Garchomp, and even that's probably not enough. Especially because if this happens and Basculation is in the back, now the wave crashes start way harder.
Ooh,
Oh, but the Zard
HP.
lives on 3 HP%. That's pretty good for Brent, because that's another piece you can keep.
Yeah, I mean...
Oh, but there's Chandelure. Okay, this can still go either way.
Yeah, I think that needing to switch out the Garchomp just to be able to get rid of this Intimidate drop is really important. Because against Torkoal and especially the Chandelure, huge Earthquakes coming out.
Yeah, sorry, my throat is not working with me. I think the Chandelure will live in Earthquake because of the Intimidate. And we do see a Helping Hand actually come out, so no Trick Room. We see Rock Slide, that's actually what the Zard goes for, because Heatwave doesn't affect it and it would give it a boost here.
Yeah, if he forgets about the Flash Fire.
Yeah, well, he does Weather Ball, which I think is quite neutral. Yes, because of the Ghost typing, but that's actually fine because of the back Pokemon that Brent has here, which will be the Basculation. You didn't want to switch out Zard because if Zard drops out, gets the Sun back up, this Pokemon becomes, so last respect, only KOs. The main thing here is if the Chandelure somehow outspeeds the Basculation. If that's the case, then this could still go either way.
Yeah, I think if this Chandelure is faster now, then that Shadow Ball in the game.
Solar Beam is probably the right play. Let's see what Brent goes for. You see Last Respects, and that will be game 1 for Brent.
Yeah, very well played by Brent here. Getting very good positioning, being able to really neutralize that Swords Dance Mawile.
Yes, the Swords Dance Mawile there, the fact that the Garchomp lived the Sucker Punch was pretty surprising. I mean, sometimes like these Black Glasses, Swords Dance King Gambits tend to be able to KO after a Swords Dance with their Sucker Punches, and the Mawile is very strong, so good to be able to kill, but in this case it just didn't come to pass, and that gives Brent the window to come back into the game.
What would you say would be a good adaptation from Matthew?
I think Matthews should really consider going the Trick Room. Mostly because if he gets Torkoal in Trick Room, or gets Chandelure in a good position, there's not that great ways to get around, for example, Torkoal Chandelure for a King Gambit. That can be quite tricky. You would have to like bank on like some Sucker Punch mind games. If you get a single one wrong, that can spell disasters. I think that you should really consider going Chandelure. It can be a little dangerous if Musikarp comes. In that case, you could get Encored into and you might lose your advantage. That means you're trying to switch or damage the Musikarp. Can be a bit. I think that's what I would also consider bringing, but it might be hard to fit to bring. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Sylveon could be pretty good in like Garchomp Rebels, but doesn't that well against Guard. The only advantage of Craft is size Zard, which Brent did that game once, so eating lead.
Yes.
So let's find out.
Let's see what Brent chooses, see what Matthew chooses. Here. See the same lead from Brent.
Yeah.
See the adjustment. Actually, the
Oh,
Chandelier lead from Matthew, which is actually a really smart lead. I really like this because he can just go for a hit faster than the Gambit here. That means that since you can't Sucker Punch because of Armor Tail, this position becomes good pretty fast actually. I like this adjustment from Matthew. The one thing he does have to watch out for is if he does decide to Trick Room this turn and then decides to protect, it can get quite awkward.
And here we see the Bastion Legion coming in. Bit of that Charizard.
Alright, we do see the Helping Hand. Let's see if this Heat Wave will just hit and kill. You see the Heat Wave come out.
Both.
And that does KO the King Gambit. That's very big for Matthew.
It also does a huge amount of damage to Bastion Legion, surprisingly, doing a third of its health.
The Helping Hand definitely helped there. And now it's going to be a little awkward. There's some ways you can get around it. I think the repositioning here is quite good for Brent. I would have thought he would bring out Guard here, so they can maybe catch a Protect from Chandler and double the Farigiraf or something like that. Because now the Chandler really does not want to get last respected, so
yeah,
that was something I was thinking of. But I think Brent might be angling for a Rock Slide flinch here, which could work. Just has to be careful. I wonder what he'll choose. See the Chandler swap to probably the Crafty. Yeah, very well played.
Yeah. He looks very happy with that decision.
I think it's quite unpunishable to see the Rock Slide actually misses the Scrafty, but that's fine. This is a flinch on Farigiraf. Things turn around really fast.
Might have gone Wave Crash into the Farigiraf.
Yes, exactly. A crit or a flinch immediately changes this game around very badly. But I think it's Citrus Berry Farigiraf, right?
Yeah.
Yes, it is. So let's see if this is a flinch. Nope, we see the Trick Room come out, and now it gets really difficult for Brent. This position is not good for him. The Gambit is gone. Everything on the other side is faster. Yeah, this looks very difficult.
Yeah, definitely. Especially now there's so much pressure from Matthew's side of the field with things like that knockoff to kill this Bastion Legion, or he could go for Fake Out into the Garchomp and Thunderbolt into Basque just to finish it off. So much offensive pressure being exerted.
Yes, I think Matthew would prefer not to click Fake Out here, because he needs to have the offensive pressure in all of his Trick Room turns. There is maybe a slim window for Brent to come back if he makes the right defensive play. So yeah, the Fake Out doesn't do that much damage, so that also chunks down on Scrafty thanks to the life, or what we do. Thunder will probably come out. The Bastion Legion. So yeah, this is looking quite difficult now, because now there's no defensive swaps anymore. The Chandler is really hard to answer. Yeah, we see the immediate forfeit.
Such a commanding position from Matthew that game. Excellently piloted.
I think that lead was excellent. I had not considered it while working with Brent, actually. I wonder what he's going to do about it. It's actually a very versatile lead, because you don't have to go for the Heat Wave there. You can go for the Trick Room immediately. Things that Brent will go for the for something like I don't know, back into the Farigiraf. The Farigiraf probably lives a attack, I would think. I'm not sure for certain. Depends on how defensive it is. It does live. I can see the confirmation from Shmon, who is the buddy of Matthew, who built the team. So yeah, that's gonna be quite tricky to deal with. It could be. Could try to go Bastion Legion lead, but it's risky if the Scrafty leads next to the Mawel again. Yeah, let's see what happens here. Right, we see the Garchomp Charizard lead. It's actually a good adaptation to this lead in particular, because now Earthquake threatens, the Earthquake Solar Beam might threaten a KO on the Chen, but I'm not sure. Plus with the Intimidate, especially
Or
because of
possibly
this.
on the Furgraph, just Brent from, first of all, going for Trick Room and also being able to have some sort of priority moves if he has King Gambit in the back. Or
Yes, exactly. I think as well, like yeah, exactly actually, that if you get rid of the Furgraph, the King Gambit becomes a lot more threatening. But it also depends on if the Torkoals in the back. We actually see the Chandler switch into Scrafty. Good play, but it is pretty. It's somewhat punishable. Not that punishable, but it's somewhat punishable here by the double up into the Furgraph. It probably won't die to this double up into the Scrafty. We'll see what happens here.
yeah.
The immediate Mega here. Let's see what Brent decides to go for. The Earthquake. Okay. Let's see if this... Oh, the Earthquake moves first, so the Citrus doesn't activate. I should think about that. See, Weather Ball manages to KO the Farigiraf. This is a Sun boosted Weather Ball. It does KO the Farigiraf. That's huge for Brent.
Yeah,
But this does allow a new repositioning, right? Because now Chandler can come in, and now the fake out Trick Room is active again. But there is no more priority blocking, which is very important for Brent. But he has to play some icky mind games now.
yeah, I mean, for this turn, it seems like a pretty simple fake out into Garchomp plus Trick Room just to guarantee it. But if the Charizard goes for Weather Ball into Scrafty, that's gone, and then it's a 2 against 4. Yes, you have Trick Room, but Brent just has so much to work with.
Yes, I mean, you see the Garchomp switch, which is exactly what you would want here. You see the Protect from Charizard, that's actually really dangerous.
Yeah,
Because now there's a...
there's a
free Trick Room coming out.
I think Brent played that turn a bit too passive.
I think so too. I think that was a better Weather Ball there. But now the Chandler is in Trick Room. The fact that the Chandler hasn't Megat yet, by the way, it's either because of the Zard being on the field, but it could also indicate there's maybe a Mawile in the back. If there's a Mawile in the back and you can get rid of the Scrafty somehow this upcoming turn, which might be possible depending on the damage that the Chandler plus the Scrafty will do to the Charizard. We might see if the Mawile's in the back, then the King Gambit is way safer to click Sucker Punch on the Chandler. Let's see what Brent does here. I would figure he protects his King Gambit, but I'm not sure if he knows the speed interactions here, so we'll actually what he does here.
Yeah. I mean, so the Scrafty is the fastest.
Yes, it definitely is the fastest thing in Trick Room.
But the King Gambit outspeeds Chandler, so
yes,
this
and
is
now
interesting.
this was, I think, the exact right play to go for from Brent. He could have actually, because his opponent went for a Heat Wave here, he could have actually Sucker Punched, and then he would have been in insane shape. But it turns out that the Weather Ball here will probably KO the Scrafty. Yep, the Scrafty is gone. And now the King Gambit is way freer to click Sucker Punch on this Chandler, and I mean, now the Charizard can just target the other slots constantly, and it's gonna be quite difficult. This is actually Sylveon.
Ooh.
But this is actually really good for Brent, I think.
Yeah, I think there's a possibility of King Gambit as being the fastest thing on the field.
Yes, exactly. I think there is a slight possibility. Let's look at the natures for a second. King Gambit is adamant, and the Sylveon is quiet, so I think the Sylveon will still outspeed. So that does mean that this Hyper Beam or Hyper Voice will be very hard, but the Sucker Punch comes out, and it kills the Chandelure!
One hit KO.
One hit KO.
Wow.
Oh, that
is huge.
Is
it the Weather Ball?
Yeah, this will be a Weather Ball, and this will mean that Brent will likely win this game, because now there's only one Pokemon left, and Brent still has all 4 of his Pokemon left. Outside of, even inside of Trick Room, there's only 2 turns left, so this is looking dire. If there's any chance of winning, then it has to be... there's no chance of winning, because you can never KO the Charizard in time. And the King Gambit is actually stored in the Sylveon. That's really surprising to me, actually. And that is a game. Brent wins the set 2-1. And that means he makes finals with a Big Six, the usually considered the best team in the format. Very well played by both players. I was very impressed.
Yeah, that was honestly very surprising. I mean, Brent played a very passive turn to let Matthew set up Trick Room, but he seemed to take more advantage of Trick Room than the hard Trick Room team.
Exactly, exactly. The
That
King
was-
Gambit was massive in that endgame, and
Yeah.
it turns out that that it really worked. So congratulations to Brent. We'll see who he has to play in the finals. Yeah, that's super impressive. I'm super happy for him.
Yeah, fantastic game from Brent. Also, Matthew putting up a very good fight. Very good
Yes.
game too there, but came through the adaptation from Brent just very strong.
The Garchomp's hard lead was a very strong adaptation. We talked about it a little before, but it was quite risky because of the Scrafty and the Frigraph lead. Turns out, I mean, it worked wonders against the new adaptation of the Frigraph Chandler lead, even with the Scrafty switching in. The Earthquake and Weatherball just one-hit KOing the Frigraph was massive.
Yeah, I mean, Brent really called almost every turn right that game, I think.
I think
Excellent
he really excelled in the lead in the third game, and the first game he managed to get basically like the exact call right. It was very impressive, very well played.
Yeah, very good round. And I'm excited to see how he does in finals.
I'm very excited too. He has to fight either Parish Rain or regular Rain, and he already played against the other Rain player. And I think that matchup's quite playable. The Parish team is a little more difficult, so we'll see how it goes. But yeah, Matthew played so insane the entire tournament. I remember I was coaching him a little bit because he didn't know a few things about the teams that he was looking at, like Matcha Gotcha and even Life Do or Hospitality were quite new concepts to him. So I was explaining him a little bit about what every team can do and what all the megas do and stuff. And he talked to me after one of his matches, and he was saying like, "Oh, I've gotten into this position with Turkle and Pelipper and in Trick Room, and I keep thinking like, oh, what did Roxanne tell me?" And it's really nice to see it. I feel in a way I feel happy for both players here.
Yeah, amazing job from both players to get up to this point. Really, in a way, it feels a bit sad not to see too much innovation in top 4, you know, with the very popular Big Six team.
Yes.
But on the other hand, Matthew's team, very original with that Mega Chandelier and Life Orb Scrafty. Very entertaining to see.
It's extremely impressive to come into a tournament with a unique team like this, especially if you have a low amount of experience in the game.
Yeah.
Because the less experience the less common the team is, the harder you'll have finding information about the team, and you're gonna rely on your coach to explain basically everything about the team. So it's really difficult to make top 4 with not an established team in a tournament like this, especially with a lot of new players making maybe a few less expected plays and a few more difficult, like decisions. But it looks like we are going to be cutting off for now. So thank you all for watching this match, but don't go anywhere.